It's 6:30. We call Sawyer County Public Works meeting to order. Ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Ron Kinsley.
Here.
Mark Helwig. He's virtual. Randy Newman.
Here.
Chuck Van Netten.
Here.
Jim Evans. You have a quorum.
Thank you. Next item is the Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Next item is certification compliance open meeting laws.
This meeting was noticed to the media and the public as required by Section 19.84 of the Wisconsin statutes.
Thank you. Number 6, meeting agenda. The agenda is set. Number 7 is public comment. Anybody at this time wish to speak to the committee? There's nobody virtual. Next item is consider approval of the previous minute.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Evans, second by Mr. Van Netten to approve. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Number 9, appoint an ad hoc committee to work on public work items with the tribe. As I said before, we were out there and met a little bit. So we're going to put together an ad hoc committee, and they're going to do the same ad hoc committee, being of 3 people plus other people that we need to bring in at the time. I had Mr. Jim Evans, Mr. Mark Helwig, myself. I asked to be on the ad hoc committee, but I need approval from the Public Works Committee to do that. And then it would
I make a motion to approve those 3 people.
get approved by the full board also. A motion by Mr. Helwig, second by Mr. Evans to approve the ad hoc committee. Any discussion?
Question.
Yes.
So you're saying other people, so if possible, if we need to have someone like from the Alliance or something to come and speak, that is gonna be allowed?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And so you know, we're gathering information to take there, and I've been in contact with the Alliance, which is, they're very helpful. So at some point, it may need to bring them in. We might have to bring in the highway commissioner, whoever we see, and hoping we get something accomplished. Okay? Thank you. Yes. Did we vote? Okay. All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Number 10. Yes. Maintenance Department report. He has a written report for us. Is there anything you would like to add, Mr. Markman?
I'd just like to say they've done a really nice job with snow removal. We've had a lot this year. First big dump came over break and they cleaned it all up Monday and sidewalks are looking good.
Thank you. Anybody else have any questions? Number 11, Sawyer County Airport report. Mr. Leslie's not here tonight, but he also gave us a report. Anybody have any questions? Anything you'd like to add?
Not for airport, no.
Okay.
Pretty quiet this time of year.
Number 12, Highway Department report.
Good evening. The crews have been busy the last couple weeks. We had multiple snowstorms, freezing rain, multiple trees down at that first snowstorm, but the crews did a good job. I did send out the winter maintenance policies to the Gazette, the Record. It's on our Facebook page, and it was also on Muskie 101 radio. We completed brushing on County W all the way from Winter to Price County line. Also completed was M North to 70 and then M South to the Rusk County line. We did replace a culvert for the Village of Coudray on Old Coudray Road. And we have completed right now enough salt sand mixing for the townships at our Hayward location, and we filled all brine tanks at each highway department location, which we purchased from Washburn and hauled it over with our tankers. So we got brine at all locations. We did complete the new Snowmobile route on State Highway 77 for the Alliance. And then our night watchman position has started. It started on November 16th and goes till March 31st, and the hours are 8 p.m. to 4 a.m. Friday through Tuesday. We did receive a new state plow truck and a new county plow truck. Now, the county plow truck came last week. It should be in service here hopefully by next week. And then we'll be selling, truck number 16. We'll be going on auction when we get that one in service. Currently fully staffed, a lot of training going on. Jason's been riding around with, a lot of the new drivers, teaching them the routes and stuff. And other for that, we're just hoping it doesn't snow anymore.
Also, at the highway department, we have a contract with Mr. Bill Curtin. He used to be the highway commissioner at Sawyer County many moons ago, and he's been helping John a lot, so it's nice to have him with that. Thank you.
And then a little update, Mike had, the department heads put together kind of a strategic plan of kind of my goals and what I want to do over the course of my time here. And so kind of part of it, I'll go through it quickly. If you got any questions, just shout out. So far as budget and finance, I kind of want to review past budgets and create a more fine-tuned budget for each line item. So it's kind of fuzzy. There's a lot of line items, and I don't think we're quite there yet of how we're tracking all of our budgeted items and where we're at. And that's one thing Bill's going to help me, and we're already starting to look into it on that to try to create it more feasible and understandable for everybody. As far as operational efficiency and innovation, obviously I know it was part of the county board's decision to look at other options to melt the snow and ice on the roads instead of using all the salt, which is brine. So part of that is I'm going to evaluate all 3 highway department locations, operations, and come up with a plan what we can do there. And as far as workforce retention, again, we do it 6-month annual reviews of each highway department employee and yearly reviews. Part of the way I'm going to get there is on evaluating the 3 highway department locations. I was going to complete a feasibility study, but I think Bill and we don't need to spend that money to complete a feasibility study. We understand as past commissioner here in Sawyer County and me, we can do this on our own and save the county quite a bit of money. And then we're just gonna, cost analysts operating at 3 shops versus 2 shops, if whatever decision we decide to do in the future. And then also review summer and winter operations, how we're running each location, and reducing cost of travel time by evaluating all the current plow routes. We did change some plow routes up this year to try to see how it's working. We added little sections to, some different plow routes. We switched some up completely. And then I guess in my 5-year plan, I'm looking at developing and building a new highway building, kind of thinking ahead of the game here a little bit. By doing this, it's going to allow cost savings and labor equipment. And, the state will fund a brine system. We don't currently have a brine system. We're buying brine from Washburn, at $1.26. We're currently buying, brine from Washburn County at $1.26 a gallon, which I think it's helping. We haven't got into it far enough to understand. And I just ran some numbers too, just put in perspective. Right now, the way we're operating, hooking these plows up to these trucks every snow event, and I ran the numbers, 16 trucks going out, for the plow routes. And I'm figuring an hour in the morning, an hour at night by the time you're unhooking the plows, hooking them up, juggling the trucks, trying to get them out of the shop. Just at non-overtime, we're at about $1,200 that we're paying in labor. That's not including equipment and fuel and all that other stuff. That's just labor to get these trucks on the road and our response time, but typically we're on overtime hooking all these plows up, and we're about $1,800, $1,900 each snow event. So just to put that in perspective a little bit. Again, as far as the budget process, I just want to, clean this budget up, kind of fine tune all my different items, and then, obviously staying within budget limits each year. And that's, the process of trying to do that is work more with Randy in finance during the budget process. And then kind of looking at other options to melt snow again, that's with buildings and what we can do the state will fund our brine maker and our tanks and everything. They'll pay for that 100%. They won't pay for a building to do this. So, and again, the price of salt, $106 a ton. By us making our own brine, being able to run more brine, we're going to reduce the amount of salt used and try to have cleaner roads and save money. So, Again, we're evaluating each storm better. We're calling on employees earlier and trying to be more active on these, or, more proactive on these storms than what we have in the past years. And, by doing that, we're gonna reduce the salt and, the cost to open these roads up by getting ahead of the storms. And then, again, when it comes to employees, have our annual reviews of each highway department employee. And, we're measuring that by employee retention, positive, negative feedback, whatever it may be, and, just create a healthy work environment at the highway department, because winters, and I can already see it at the highway department this year, we've been out twice this week, early in the morning, 4 AM. People get wore down if this continues all through winter, it makes for a long winter. Again, and part of me, just open door policy, allowing employees to address concerns or anything at any time. It doesn't have to be a set time. My door is always open, so. And that's kind of just my goals and plans going forward. And part of the other thing is Bill, so he was part of, you were the chair for the equipment management at WCHA for quite a while, right?
Yeah, deal with equipment management, chairing that for several years. So I know John and I have, if you want me to jump in here.
Yeah, go ahead.
He asked me to come tonight. I thought after being here for a few months here, I could kind of go over a few things that I'm working with John on and just give you an update. It kind of ties in a little bit here with what he's talking about with planning and strategic planning. And operationally, I'll just say, where I came from, again, my background against you guys, I spent 31 years managing highway departments. So I was up here many, many years ago. I spent 8 years down in Dunn County Highway Department. And I spent the last 20 years before I retired at the end of last year for the Jefferson County Highway Department as a commissioner down there. So we got a lot of years of experience, but so it's really good to be back here and in the area after working up here a lot of years ago. But what I've been spending time with John with, the last few months is really looking at the efficiency again. Salt brine is an area I spent a lot of time on salt brine years ago. We were one of the lead counties actually where I worked, really getting into salt brine and really cutting back on some of our salt usage and how we were actually managing our salt brine. So that was a really important area for us. The equipment that goes with it, and there's a whole step in process here for that. So I'll just mention that, I guess, since John's talking a lot about salt brine. But the equipment side and facility side, we've been starting to work on that and look at that and talk about that. On the equipment side, I'll just throw around a summary here quick and give you guys an idea. Again, we're trying to look at efficiency things with the equipment. I don't want to bore you guys too much tonight, but I'll give you kind of a quickie overview of what we're to try to do here as far as looking at this. And I'll John may send around the spreadsheet here too when he's done doing that. But the summary is actually on the equipment. And going through this first process of actually looking at equipment, one big thing is how aware you guys are not. I know you guys are on the guaranteed costing of the DOT where you guys have been taking a lot of losses on your equipment, so you actually kind of triggered something that is pretty rare in the whole state. There's only a couple of counties in the whole state, and you guys are one of them that actually use that guaranteed cost. So one thing we really want to do is look at is, can we improve our efficiency of our equipment and get out of that situation? And so we took we took all the equipment, we're working through the process right now to look at it, and it's something that we're gonna kind of piece by piece, see if we can start improving the efficiencies of that equipment. And you send that spreadsheet around, yeah. So the spreadsheet I sent out there is kind of the spreadsheet of all your equipment data to start with. If you look at the summary sheet, I'll just give you the highlights, 66 pieces of primary equipment in your fleet. Your average plow truck is 6 years old, which is really, really good statewide for all the counties I work with right now. You guys have done a really good job actually of turning your plow trucks. Your equipment purchase backlog, and I can tell you about that in a second here. $3.8 million, and I'll show you what that means in 1 second here. First year turnover needs, $5.8 million. Equipment fund losses, this is one of the things I just mentioned here, is from, you look back over these years, we're losing a lot of money, and we're trying to get into ways to try to improve that now, to try to start turning that around here so we go the other direction. And again, mention that cost, guaranteed costing in place. So we look at the bottom process there, the management process. Those first couple steps of that management process is what we're kind of through right now. So we've taken that first step, is taking all your equipment, the spreadsheet I sent around to you. We took every piece of equipment, we reorganized it all, kind of cleaned it all up. And once we got that all done, I started working on looking at the age of your equipment to see where are we behind, where are we on track with turnover. And the first stab at looking at a turnover plan what I end up doing with that is I look at where are we at with our fleet right now, that maybe we're beyond where it would be maybe a normal turnover for a plow truck or a normal turnover for a grader. And I kind of run through a kind of a backlog. So when you see things that are saying backlog, you look at the first page, you're not going to see anything there because your plow trucks are all right there. You got some that are kind of come and due now. But you flip to the second page of that spreadsheet, and then you'll start seeing some numbers, and that is your small truck fleet, some of your specialized trucks, and you'll see a lot of things that are over a certain age where, probably should have been turned already, but it kind of gives you a feel for where you're at with the age of your fleet. The third page, you're going to see that summary of all your heavy equipment. And again, that's all your tractors and loaders and graders and pavers, compactors. And again, in that area, you're actually not as bad as other counties I deal with, but you have a few areas there, obviously, that you're getting a little old on. But overall, it's not crazy, but you got a few areas where you're probably over the life on. And then that last page is just your support equipment, where I kind of put that all in a lump, because we're not going to break down every single piece of small equipment. So that's your support equipment. But if you flip to that last page, this is one of the first steps I kind of go through, and I start analyzing equipment fleets and to see kind of where you guys are at with your fleet. And you'll see the numbers there. And again, it's a good first step of the process is get everything cleaned up, look at it, and then look at it. And you see the numbers there. And so it really just plugs in a turnover plan based on not making any changes, where we're at right now, how we sit right now. And you'll see in the highlight there in the orange, the 3.8, then you'll see that first year turnover, there's 2 million more in there. The reason there's 2 million more in there is you're right at that age where your plow trucks are going to start hitting that age. They're going to get to be, they take a couple of years. You guys know to get them even 11, 12 years old, 13 years old, where you'll have some of those starting to enter into that turnover plan. But it gives you a really good look. And I guess I'll tell you, I've done this work for a lot of years, my own counties I work with, but also for several counties I'm working with right now, consulting. And you guys are not in a terrible, a $3.8 million turnover. I got a few counties that are your size that I have an $8-9 million turnover or a backlog for turnover. I got other ones that are, 6, 7, 8 million, so it's actually, it's not great, but it's actually better than quite a few counties. So it's workable as a matter. The big problem is with what you have actually for your backlog right now and where you're at right now is you go down to that bottom line down there and that last sheet is you're not creating a lot of funding within your equipment operations. You need to create more funding. And my goal, as I talked to John before you guys even brought me in here, is I've taken counties like this and I've turned them around by $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 over the course of 2 or 3, 4 years of making some better decisions on what we're trying to do. And that's kind of the goal that I want to do with you guys, is work with you guys on this and try to step by step start making these improvements and get you off the guaranteed costs if we can do that. But just step by step, can we create, for a county your size, there's no reason why we shouldn't be creating $500,000, $600,000, pay $700,000 in your equipment operations. So that's kind of the overall goal, is to try to turn this around. And it's some of it is something John and I are taught. Some of these are hard decisions, but we'll work through that process. So I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to swamp you guys too hard with it. I just want to kind of give you guys a start. And we're actually taking this now. We've already gone to another step. I'm not going to overcomplicate it with you guys, but we've already gone into a whole thing of looking at utilization right now. And we're charting everything out by how we're using it, utilization, different pieces together. And then we'll start looking at how we can start maybe making some changes in our fleet and get better utilization out of some of our trucks and things like that we need to change some things. And but again, that's why it takes some time, because you make these decisions and you know how long it takes to buy some of this equipment and get trucks in and all that. It could be 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, you just incrementally, you're going to make changes that are going to start getting your numbers better. So that's kind of the equipment side. I don't know if there's any questions at all, but I just want to kind of give you guys an overview on that.
I've got one. So when we get to when we're turning that profit you're talking about, that could reduce our CIP debt issue for highway then, correct?
If you get to the point, yeah, if you get to the point where you're creating more and more money, then that's the whole point is counties I work with, I see it kind of all over the place right now, and the counties I work with, what I had done in my county, I was off the CIP. My whole fund, my equipment is all 100% within my equipment funding process. So you got to get to that point though, where you're healthy enough and you build it to the point where you can do that, then you can get it pulled completely out of your actually extra funding. You don't, if you can do it the right way. And it's, but it takes time, and you got to you can deal with where you're at right now as far as your fleet and your age and all that. But if you can pump this up to $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000, $600,000, $700,000, the whole point is to get to the point where you're self-sufficient within those funds without actually having to throw extra money in then at that point. So, and that would be the ultimate goal of what we're trying to do.
I just want to talk just a second on the guaranteed cost, because none of you may know or don't know, but we have pretty much two separate fleets of trucks. We have triaxles and tandem axles. Our state trucks, we pay for as the county, but we don't create revenue through those trucks all summer long. They sit. And the reason why is they're not built to where we can haul asphalt and pave and everything. So that's why we're on the guarantee cost. It's Sawyer County, Milwaukee County, I believe Milwaukee County, right, is on the guarantee cost. So again, my goal is, but again, it's a process because a lot of our state trucks are not in bad shape. You know, they're not at that turnover yet, but there's things that we can do to maybe move some of those trucks out and bring some different trucks in to keep those trucks running throughout the summer. Because we create zero revenue on those trucks in the summertime. I mean, right now, we're creating revenue when they're out plowing, and that's about it. So,
And based on how you're set up now, I tell you what, I mean, it was a smart decision to do what you did with the guaranteed cost, actually, because you're not losing those ones for the state right now. But the long-term thing is, when you're in that mode and you're not improving things, you're also not really trying to improve it for your own county operation, you know, so it really gets you in a kind of a spot that you really don't want to be in. You don't, you know, so you really want to work to make it all work together. And there are challenges because, again, the DOT and how you got to handle certain things with them and equipment. But, yeah, the kind of doing better dual use thing with your trucks and things like that is kind of what John and I, yeah, we've been kind of talking through that process of, it's going to be, but again, it's going to be a step by step, and it's not just trucks, it's other areas too. We think we can do some things in, and, but it's going to be, yeah, we're going to kind of work our way through this, and we'll give you guys updates as we go through, but this is kind of the first step of trying to look at it now. We're going to talk about some changes, maybe some other things in the fleet we can do, but then we'll start developing that into the plan as far as our turnover to try to only make sure we're doing things that are going to make sense. They're going to work with our operations and make sure we're creating more money in there, because otherwise it's just you're putting more money out there to actually just manage your fleet when you don't, hopefully you don't have to if you get it done the right way. So.
Actual cost kind of encourages inefficiency, doesn't it?
What's that?
The actual cost program encourages inefficiency.
Yes, because because you're not, I mean, you're getting a bigger check if you lose more money on those state trucks. They're going to hand you a bigger check. So it just doesn't, there's no incentive on the state side, because it doesn't matter there. If you do poorly, they're going to write you a check because your trucks or equipment is losing money, but it doesn't help your county side,
But we're
right?
not going to make any money on the equipment either.
Yeah, right.
well, I mean, that too, and plow trucks are $425,000, you know, and you run them on state, you don't even create a quarter of the revenue back on them to pay for them, and now you got to buy a new truck. The county has to buy a new truck to plow in the wintertime, you know, so.
I've been in on a couple of these meetings, and this has been a really good move, bringing Bill on as a consultant. It's going to help us out a lot.
Yeah,
John does an amazing job, but, you know, like me, highway's different, and it's hard to learn, and having someone who's been through it is going to be very beneficial for us.
Yeah, and we've talked a lot about some finance stuff we're kind of looking at too, and we'll have more discussions about that, because we're already digging into some things that we think we can make some improvements to on just the budgeting side too, so.
We have them trucks with brine, all of them got to be put inside because the brine's sitting there, correct?
Should be.
All our brine should be inside. And again, now that's another process too, because our fleet, we're not all set up. Our state trucks are set up for brine. None of our county trucks are. So I mean, that's another process to get those, you know, going forward. But I think I mean, being proactive, I think starting this now and starting looking at, you know, just equipment and, you know, the budgeting, the finance part of it, the building part of it. I mean, it's all got to kind of start at somewhere, you know.
And just throw one more thing in, we have been working, looking a little bit at the facility side, just so you guys know, I have been through the process. I built a brand new facility, so I went through multiple studies of new facilities. And about 9-10 years ago, we went off-site, and when I was in Jefferson for the highway department, we built a brand new main facility. We built 2 brand new satellite facilities, kind of took some other ones down and did that. So I got kind of some expertise in that too, and, you know, John and I have talked about that a little bit. I know you guys are starting to think about it or look at it a little bit with your facility, and so, I mean, anything you guys want or need as far as us to put together, we started working on some things already to kind of at least to show you, because obviously it's something that you guys eventually, whatever it is, you guys make a decision to start moving forward. I know you got some things here, and I guess that's one thing I have the benefit of. I was here, so I kind of know the satellites, I know the facilities here, and you're dealing with a shop out at Hayward it's really, really small. It's not a modern shop at all. I mean, all the new facilities being built for even counties your size, you're looking at 50,000 55,000 square foot facility, and I think you're operating out of a 12,000 square foot facility. It just doesn't have all the modern shop and operations that you're seeing with all the new buildings in the state being built right now. And you guys are probably in that minority of maybe the last 15 or 20 counties that really haven't updated a main shop for a highway department. So, but if you guys, anything you guys want, we can, I told John I can help work with you guys on that and look at it, because I've done a lot of planning work and working through the process of actually putting a new building up. So I can definitely help out. And I'm actually working with Russ County right now too, and they're going out to bid right now on a new facility for their highway department down there. So like I told John, we'll have some really good numbers on a similar size of what you guys would maybe want to be looking at, a 50,000 square foot main building down there. So we'll see next month, we'll have bid numbers from down there, and we'll see what that looks like, so we can kind of pass it on to you guys and let you know, so.
Good. Any other
Mr.
questions?
Chair,
Yes.
I have a question.
Yes.
Hey, John, did I hear you correctly that you take off the plows at the end of the day and then put them back on at the beginning of the day?
Yes, every snow event, we take the plows off the trucks to be able to get the trucks into the shops. So, morning and night.
And I see where that would be a big cost. Yeah, thank you.
When you start looking at the whole big picture, I mean, we've done it that way historically here, forever. But I mean, when you start trying to get up to date and to try to save money to be able to, change our fleets around or build a building to be more efficient and save the county money, that all comes into play, so.
Yeah, that's where that new building would come in, like you said, would come into play, that we could eventually save money, in the long run.
And I don't want to scare anybody, but I mean, it's a huge change. I mean, that's looking at different plow routes. I mean, we run a lot of plow routes. I can't, just out of Hayward, ourselves, we're running 6 plow routes, but we could easily run probably another 4 or 5 plow routes out of our Hayward facility. And we could probably cut winter down to 2 plow routes, and maybe just be a winter facility. A lot of counties have just a winter. I know Washburn does. I think Jefferson, you guys did at a lot of counties. I talked to Marathon County today. They have 5, I think, satellite shops. And, 3 of them, they only run winter. I mean, I'm just throwing ideas out there because, again, I want to be successful and I want to save money. I don't want to lose money for the county, so.
Any questions? Thank you. Much appreciated. Number 13, Board Appointment Committee updates. Correspondence, reports, conferences, future agenda items. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.